Oh, hello there. This is Louis, aka Louis the French Monette, and you're watching Norton Consultations. On today's show, what all I gotta say is all hail Cobra Commander. We got Chance Ellison himself. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being on. Dan, this is your big moment, your favorite player. You get a one-on-one with, so don't mess it up. No. All right, so let's start this. Since Mr. Dan is the corruption aficionado himself, I'll let him start off and kick off with the first question. What do you want to talk to?
I was just gonna say it's kind of the same for everybody. What was it that was more than trivia, but what was it for you that got you into movies in general?
Ooh, that's a very good question. It's kind of the thing that's always been present in my life. Like my grandmother always had a massive VHS collection.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was younger, I'd spend like hours and hours using the VCR and just like plugging in, not different movies, but usually the same ones over and over again. But it's just a thing that I'd always been like present for. You know, my parents when I was younger, my mom usually took me to movies a lot when I was a baby. Didn't make any noise. So, in fact, there's a lot of times where like the movie would get out, and like people would like be shocked to find out there was a baby there the whole time. It's like wait, what? You had a kid this whole time? Nobody noticed? It's fucking weird. That's weird. So yeah, there's that, and my hometown, I'm from El Paso, Texas, and there's like this big old timey theater there called the Plaza, and every summer they would do, they still do it, but they didn't do it this year because thanks COVID.
Yeah.
They did a classic film festival. I used to go all the time when I was younger, just to experience like movies that I loved just on like a big screen, or see new movies. Like I saw Jaws for the first time, I saw Psycho for the first time, and just so many like great classics on like this huge screen, like this old timey theater, and it was really cool, and that's really what cemented it for me.
Is there one VHS tape that you kept watching until you like destroyed it? Me, it was Lion King.
I mean, there is, but I'll talk about that one later.
All right, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so basically, you found Schmodown how? Like, what was your first introduction? Your first matches influence?
So I've been a big follower of Jeremy Johns for a long time, and he did year reviewers that I found Christian and Mark, and I started following them. Then I found they were gonna do. I kept hearing about this like Ultimate Schmodown like trivia show that they were doing. I'm like, what the hell is this? And so I looked around. I found the playlist of the entire 2014 tournament. So I watched all of that and just like this is great, and I want to keep going. And yeah, I've been watching ever since.
And then go ahead. Oh
yeah, till you started playing, that is, right?
I got a call. My bad.
No problem.
Oh, no problem.
And when you started the other leagues and you got your hand into it, what was the first thing you realized? Like, okay, like what I saw on screen and when I actually try to do it, what was like the experience like?
I think I learned is the fact that it's kind of like any sport. You can't go in off of just raw talent. Like you have to get better. And that was the thing I was doing when I was in fan league. You also my early fan league, so I'm good. I'm not great. It's in later runs and later games that I become a great player, and I had to evolve to get there. So that was my main takeaway: is the fact that you can go with just like raw knowledge, play for fun, but if you really want to contend, if you really want to get somewhere, it's you got to build. You got to build it if you got to get better.
Yeah, like if like you said, raw talent is there, but if you don't know the strategy, you don't know the way to go ins and outs and how to play in your opponent's head,
Yeah. It's not just like what you know. It's like you gotta know your opponent. You gotta know like what they're good at, what they're not good at. Like what do you do in certain game situations? It's a lot like, because I used to be a big athlete growing up. It's a lot like when I was growing up playing sports, because like it's a lot of it's not just like going out playing the game. It's a lot of strategy. It's a lot of going over like tapes and going over like, okay, what you need to know mentally. And yeah, that's my biggest takeaway. That was my biggest takeaway. Just like starting doing like, okay, if you wanna get somewhere, you gotta be willing to just try and improve any way you can.
And you start like, you start doing your thing, you start adjusting your craft, starting to get good. Next thing you know, boom, the opportunity showdown arises with the Anarchy. Tell me a bit about that experience. How did it go? If you can discuss it, how did that go through? And what was your reaction when you realized you're going to be teamed up with the great KO himself?
It was totally random. No, I'm kidding. No, for real. So what happened was I just won like a singles title in the family, which is crazy. It was like I was like our inaugural singles champion, and it was something I really wanted to do. So like, yeah, that was cool. I had just done that. I knew Christian watched the match, so I kind of had that messaging relationship. I just wanted to tell him like, hey, thanks for watching. I get a message a few weeks later, just like, hey, how would you? He's like, well, the first thing he said was, how long would it take you to get to LA? I told him, and it's like, oh shit, this is happening. It's like, how would you like to get a chance to compete? I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Because, I mean, was it a little? Was it an impulsive decision? Yeah, but at the same time, it's something that I wanted to do for like 4 years, well, 3 years, because that's how I'm watching the show. But yeah, when Christian asked me to do it, I'm like, there's no question. Like, I'm going to do this, and yeah, so I owe that to the people in the family. So like build me up, and to the party who was helping get my name out there as well. So yeah, he told me about Anarchy. I knew about that like months before it was even announced. I didn't know my partner was at first. And then like there was another conversation where it was like, "Can you play heel?" I'm like, "Yeah, probably, sure." Who's my partner? No, he asked like, "Do you want to know your partners?" I'm like, "Sure." Like when he first asked, I'm like, "Okay, it's gonna be like Guy or Dagnino or just someone that they're gonna like saddle me to." I'm just like, okay, fine, I'll see what it didn't matter. I was gonna take whoever he gave me. But then he's just like, it's my kind of ask. I'm like, oh, so not only am I entering the league, I'm gonna be like part of the main story of the season, which was it's a lot to get thrown into in your first year, but I was all in. I was excited and I was ready to go.
Dan, I've been talking since the beginning. I'll let you talk.
I was actually just letting you go, hoping my issues would resolve.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of like Anarchy and joining corruption, did you know ahead of time that like who your manager was going to be through that tournament, or
I think I found out. I don't know if I found out. I don't know if Christian told me, if I found out in like the Anarchy reveal video, but like that, like Mike might be my partner, was like, that was the information I was privy to. I don't think I found out until I watched the reveal video. But yeah, like that's being paired with Ken and Mike. That was like my ideal scenario, just because they were two very big personalities. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, just let them take care and let my game speak for myself, speak for itself, I should say.
And did you go ahead, Dan? Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say I've always looked at like the showmanship in the Schmodown, even more so than the gameplay, which is amazing and something like you need to be into to watch it in the first place. But the stories that go back and forth between competitors and personas and all of that, like how fun is it just to be evil all the time?
Oh, it's great. No, it's great, and I remember like when I was in football, like I never had anger issues when I was doing that because I had a chance to take it all out, and then I was good. This is kind of like my new release now, just like, and I can just be as sinister or as big of a dickhead that I want to, and it's all cool. But yeah, no, it's really fun being a part of corruption, even from the beginning.
And this, rewind back. This is your moment. You're finally doing the Schmodown, and then you're paired up with KO. Tell me about the dynamics the first time you sat down and started doing the match. Explain me a bit what was in your head and how was it with your relationship with KO?
So I had met KO in July. I was at I went to a taping because I was in town in LA. I went to a taping in July. It was the same day Collision aired. It's actually how I found out that guy TKO'd Merle. I couldn't believe it. So I went there to watch 2 matches. Met Mike, and instantly we worked fairly well off each other, because the thing about us that he knows at the beginning, like, I'm good at a lot of things that Mike isn't, which is like a really good foundation for a team. And understandably, Mike was apprehensive because, like, I can't imagine what he was told. Just like, hey, we got this guy for you, this partner for you. Okay, he's 20 years old, huh? Because I was 20. Yeah. I was 20 when I first entered the league. So yeah, I was youngest competitor by a long shot.
And the youngest champion for a month or 2, right? I believe Paul's younger than you are, or
Paul's older than I am.
Oh, okay. I knew it was close, but I wasn't sure which way it went.
It's close, but so Paul's older than I am.
The youngest champion and a 2-time one now.
Yeah. But first match, I mean, you can see we're shaky just because we hadn't really refined our whole strategy yet. Like we did things in that match that normally we would never do. And I think that it's part of that learning curve. Which is why I think that we don't look as good as we will look in the future.
And talking about learning curve, what was the haha moment that you realized, okay, we really got something? This is refined to the point that we're unstoppable.
Probably when we beat Founding Fathers the first time, because look, facing Dan and Roka at the same time it's not fun. It's not. it's a challenging experience. To do that on your second match, that takes nerve, that takes skill, and I felt like I was ready for it. And just to see, that's one of my favorite team matches we've done so far, because like it's one of the ones where it's competitive. We're both at the top of our games, and it really shows that was one that really showed how dangerous of a team we could be.
Yeah, and interesting. Okay. It's interesting that, like, a lot of teams have these up and downs, but for some reason, the Founding Fathers and Corruption can't play a bad game against each other. It's like everybody. I mean, individual like rounds or like players have suboptimal games, but every one that you guys have played has been down to the wire and pretty even throughout.
Yeah, I mean, we're never going to knock each other out. That's just not. I don't think it's a possibility.
Hey, like you said, if Andrew Guy knocked the great one out, you never know. Anything is possible. But yes, there's something about like the head-to-head between both of you that, you know, just makes so much sparks that it's one of the most entertaining matches to watch, right? Talking about sparks, you know, you got Roka in front of you. You got the greatest mind gamer, like, mess up in your mind, and your partner also with one of the greatest characters and someone who, you know, really knows how to creep up into people's skin. In the long run, did you learn anything with the KO, how to get in your opponent's head?
There are things that you can say. It's not just from KO. It's from like a collection of people, like, because there are things that I've done in matches that people, oh, that's really good, and I wasn't even trying to get in someone's head. Like, I think it was the Emma match where she missed a question by raising Arizona. I'm just like, she's like, I never see him. I'm like, oh, it's great. You should watch sometime. And so someone gave me a lot of credit for that. Was Guy just like that? Like, that's great. Like, you should do that more. I'm just like, yeah, you know, I should. And I've done it more this season. I should have more talking during my answer giving, because it might, like, because there's a good chance it might mess my opponent's head. But Yeah, I think it's just a matter of knowing like how shakeable your opponent is. Like I'm never gonna try and shake Dan Murrell because that's I mean it's happened once, but that was like lightning in a bottle. I don't think anyone's ever gonna get to Dan the way Guy got to Dan way back in 18. Yeah.
Mhm.
But guy is a whole other level of like he should have been a wrestler. Like there's something about his charisma that you just have to say one word and he probably can make me cry. So, but yeah, if there's one person that can shake Murrow, it would be Guy. Now, could you describe, because we're not you, right? We can
Right.
watch it, we can feel it, but we're not you. Could you describe in your own words your evolution as a character in the Schmodown? Like, how would you describe it?
So I think you've watched me those first seasons. I'm mostly just there to play. I get a few lines every now and then, but I was just mostly there to play and just kind of serve the Mike story, which is fine because Mike was the story of 2018.
Mm.
So I think that I need to take a back seat. Second season, that's when we, kind of broke into, we kind of like became a bigger ensemble. We brought in Grace, we brought in Stacy, which was, I mean, that I was a great team to be a part of. And still, I never got a chance to like really, really showcase what I can do as far as character work. I feel like this season is unique to me in the fact that I get to, use my mic skills, use my like character skills more often than I have in the past. Like you look at my promo work this year, I'm saying more lines in any one of my promos than I probably did in entire seasons, just because the remote factor of it. I have like notes, but like I'm more or less directing myself. I'm basically in my own hands at this point. And I do think that's gone. I mean, it sucks because I did like working in the studio, but I think that's gone to benefit my character work because I had to step up. And even though I'm on a much larger team now than I've ever been, like I still need to like I'm still, if you can call it, like one of the team captains of Corruption. So I really needed to step up my game as far as like character goes. And I mean, I'm not one of the better ones in Corruption. I think Laura and Marisol are both like both crushing it right now. But I think I'm doing better now than I have been, actually, because I have like creative freedom to work with myself and in what I say and what I do.
Would you say that that freedom, that creation is because you're behind a webcam and not in studio, like more familiar territory, or it just this is the time to click and it just clicked?
I think understanding there's more pressure because I can experiment more on my own just because I mean in studio you have Christian will be there to tell you what to say and you maybe have a couple of takes before you have to go and play a match. When I'm doing it like this, I can have as many takes as I want. I can try out as many things as I want. Like there's one of my promos, I did like 20 takes of it before there's one I actually like really liked. And because it's all my time, it's all on me, I have the freedom to do that. So yeah, I do think that I'm curious how this will go when we actually go back to studio, which I'm so excited for. But yeah, I think the fact that I only have to answer to me, as long as my promo minutes, you have to answer promo, but most of I only have to answer to me. So I do think that helps. That benefits me in the long run when it comes to these.
And so, about like the promos and everything, a lot of it is repetition to a degree as well, right? You get practiced in it, and I don't want to bring up like the lesser parts of your career because you've grown into such a much better player, but a lot of people build their stories around that tournament season, right? You get to play multiple matches in a row and really showcase your personality. What was it like kind of drawing the short straw for 2 seasons in a row in that playoff?
It wasn't good. I'll tell you that. It was not good. I remember when I got told
playing
about
the best match too, and then like not getting the win is very disappointing.
Absolutely. And yeah, it sucks to those first 2 matches. I don't play badly. I didn't play badly against Irwin. I didn't play badly against Bibbs. I'm just playing up against someone where what I did wasn't enough, which is an unfortunate position to be in, but it's what happens. I feel like I'm starting to break away from it, and I just got to see if I can keep it going. So, but yeah, drawing the short straw for 2 seasons was not fun. Was not fun. There's so many competitors that did go on, and I see them as like, God, I so could have beaten you.
And
we could
third
play
time
3 seasons with this Inner Geekdom tournament that just came. Because you did not have an easy road through that, but you took and blazed the trail.
Now, that moment, because full disclosure, I was on the Parker train wagon. I was like Parker Express, go Parker.
I don't
a lot, and you know, and Dan kept on crapping on me for it, and I got myself shut up. You know, pretty fast. Thank you very much. That being said, like that pressure, right? Knowing you got like this phenom in front of you. And there's a lot of like, no one's talking about Chance. No one's saying, "Hey, Chance gonna get it." Everyone's on putting the chips on this and on Parker. What was going through your head?
I mean, I understood it just because Rao's been a friend of mine for years. I one of my best friends. I know how like dedicated he is to Geek. He's dedicated in a way that I am not. I will admit, he takes that like way more. He takes that like way more hardcore than I do. Not saying I take it seriously, but like he's on a whole different wavelength. When I saw my corner of the bracket, I'm just like, crap. Okay, so because I know how good Paul is. He the dude's got dedication. But like I knew like, okay, so if I beat Paul, I'm definitely taking out Parker next because no one in that lower court is gonna take Parker out. Nobody. That being said, I knew it was tough. I knew I was going to be the underdog in that fight, no matter what. But I knew that, okay, if anyone has the knowledge of this, or anyone has the skill to be Parker, it's going to be me or Paul because we came up with Parker. Like we know what he can do. We know how he works, and we know him in a way that nobody else in that tournament did. So yeah, I felt like I'm like, okay, look, this is gonna be a tough fight, but I do think I can pull it out. And yeah, lo and behold, that might be my best played. It might be my best played match, just on my own because I feel like I've played a lot of good ones, but like probably like top 3 or 5 matches I've ever played.
But you had such a confidence that, you know, you have confidence. You're very, you know, stoic and I'm going to do this. But something about that match, there's something about the sparkle in your eye when you realize, hey, I'm against Parker and I'm the one to beat him. But there's a difference between having that spark and actually doing it, right? When you start doing it, you start your match. Is there a point in your match you realize, hey, I actually might win? Like he's kind of starting getting shaky, or in your head, it's like, oh, he can, you know, go up anytime I have to be on point?
I mean, I knew I had to keep on my game, but it was when he missed the Dark Knight question. I'm just like, okay, this is okay. I'm like, I better just keep delivering in the first round because I can get a jump on him. And then when he missed that mask question, I'm just like, oh, all right, I got him on the ropes. So like this is where I need to that's where I need to take advantage. So I'm like, okay, so I knew him as I need a good spin around 2. And I just need to just keep it going and hope I get a 5 I can hit. That's something people point out that I'm not very good at hitting 5s, which is accurate. But yeah, no, there's something about that match. I mean, I watch it now, and I was just like in like a whole different zone for that one, and it was great, and it showcased because I went in and I performed like really well. So yeah, I mean. I think that first round, and then when I just swept round 2, I mean, swept. I mean, I went 9 for 10, but I still call it a sweep. But yeah, man, that was the point where we were like, oh, I can take this guy like right now because Mike and Shannon both like they sincerely believed I was going to take Parker out. I'm just like, okay, you know what? They have faith in me. I can do this.
Yeah, they had faith in you when even Christian was, you know, waving the Parker flag. Everyone was putting out Parker,
and And yeah, I would understand why, because I know
Hmm.
his reputation. I know like what he does. I know what he does for Geek. That guy has seen Steel more times than any human I know. Okay, not any human, because Paul likes him to be a lot, like unironically. But yeah, they're like the work he does for Geek is astounding. But I mean, like I said, knowledge can only take you so far. It's all about skill, and it's all about like who you're up against. And I had his number that day.
Yeah, and it's impressive because I think he was, if not mistaken, undefeated in any movie trivia match, right?
He'd never lost a Geek match.
Okay, and I think he did singles in other leagues too. He never missed, if not mistaken.
Well, I mean, he did lose. I mean, I beat him in singles. I beat him in singles, but it's
all right.
Singles was never like his forte. He was good at it. Don't get me wrong. He was very good at it, but that was never his forte. Geek, that was his thing. Like if you thought family Geek players, you thought Robert Parker.
And how likely are we to see chances to Parker 2 next season?
I don't know. We'll see. I know Parker would want a rematch with me, and
when Parker gets a title match is when we'll see it.
That's true. Because I'm gonna beat Chandler for that. I'll beat Chandler for that title, and then he can come see me then.
What is your greatest challenge against Chandler? What mentally are you preparing for? Because Chandler he has a very different approach and a very different type of heel. I said to Chandler, I love you, bro, but you're a heel. A very different type of heel. How do you prepare yourself for that kind of player that we haven't really seen yet?
I mean, I'm not gonna give away all my secrets, but the thing is, like, Chandler is the guy that likes to play mind games. Like that got Brandon, they got Smets. Thing is, he's up against the one player that's not going to work against. So he can do literally anything he wants to me. But I'm not. I mean, it's not going to shake me. So that's just waste of time, effort on his part. Also, I mean, it's just a matter of I need to like really be like centered for that match. I need to know. I just need to be able to pull any random facet of knowledge, because the Inner Geekdom library is actually quite expansive as opposed to what it used to be. So, and just go into it and try and absorb knowledge, because like certain categories for me don't stick as well, and that's because I haven't been fans of some franchises for very long. So like the ones I'm newer fans to, they don't stick with me like other ones, but if I can just get my mind in a place where like, okay, so I know that even though this is my favorite franchise, I know it very well. Like I feel like I can definitely take him out.
And he is much like a Robert Parker, and Smets would be like the peak of this hill, like the like geek centered high accuracy kind of player, which is much like you are in, it turns out, 3 different divisions. But how do you just kind of hope questions that he doesn't know come up, or are you looking to find the weakness in his game that you can exploit?
It's kind of hard to gauge like weaknesses in the Ultimate League, because like it's not like singles where you can like pull a strength out of nowhere and like have your parent catch up on like completely off guard for it, because we're all watching the same things.
Yeah.
Because like even when I was studying, I would text out about it. It's like look at this, because there's no point in hiding what I'm watching, because like I said, we're all watching the same things. That being said, it's just a matter of like knowing what's on the wheel, knowing what to give him. Opponent choices on there, which I mean, it could be. I'm not sure I want to play it, but yeah, it's just a matter of like knowing. It's also a matter of knowing like what your opponent's like really, really proficient in, like as far as I know what to stay away from. Like against Parker, like even though I'm good at it, I would not have taken Middle Earth. Why? Because I don't trust myself to go perfect, because Parker, I know how much Robert loves Middle Earth and loves Lord of the Rings. So yeah, it's all a matter of just like knowing your opponent that way. It's like chess,
Yeah, you don't roll DC against Mike.
Yeah,
exactly. No, that's you're gonna have a bad time.
Or if you do, you have really big cojones. Now you did something. You did say something interesting. Like you do play in 3 leagues. There's not many players can actually say that, right? What's your experience been like? How do you balance that very exhausting way of playing? How do you balance that?
I mean, I don't feel I don't feel out of burnout like most people would say I would, but I don't. It's just a matter of knowing how to study for things. Like IG is so detail oriented, and there's so many like little details you need to know about every single movie because you don't know what random crap could come up. Singles and team is a way different story because you are not gonna get something like incredibly. It's a matter of like knowing what you need to know in every situation. Like I remember I was watching Ali, and I remember like I heard like when in the beginning when he was about to fight Sonny Liston, they gave his weight at the beginning of the movie. And I was like, I should write that down. I'm like, wait a minute, now, because it was like right after I finished my IG run. I'm like, I should write that down. They're like, you know what? No, they're never gonna ask you how much you weigh at the beginning of the movie before you fought Liston the first time. So forget it. So I mean, yeah, that's the main thing. It's just knowing how to study and not trying to know everything, but trying to know like what is relevant in a film.
Is there has there been times that in singles, let's say you received a question, you're like, I've never thought of like looking at a question that way, or something that kind of like just hit you in your face and surprised you?
Yeah, you know what? They're actually funny enough for the Back to the Future question against Parker, because that's the first one in my mind. I'd watched Back to the Future like a couple days before that match, and that was just something that I failed to write down. So I'm just like, oh, that is a good one. And that's one I admittedly did not think of. So, yeah, something is gonna is bound to slip through the cracks because there's no way it won't. So it's just a matter of like, okay, how do you move on? How do you press forward? And it's all about like thinking outside the box because it's not just like knowing the movie. They have to think like the question writers, like, okay, are they privy to ask this? Are they going to ask this? Is this relevant?
Yeah, because it's true. Because you can prepare yourself, but after a while, you kind of understand the style of the question and a bit of like the mentality of the question writer. So you kind of prepare yourself sometimes for the same types of question but different movies, right?
Right. No, absolutely, and props to the writers. They do well, but you do start to see patterns. You start to see patterns in their work. So it's just like, okay, so this is what I know to expect. Like there's certain piece of information about every movie that you should probably know. Especially they should be famous. Like any like major plot points, you should probably know. Like jobs, spouses.
Yeah.
Any like
I've seen jobs come up a lot.
Jobs come up a ton.
Yeah.
And that's always a note I write down. Just like, okay, what was this person's job?
And are you anticipating any sort of, I'm assuming you'll defend your team's title against Shazam and potentially be playing many different matches at Spectacular, potentially the tiebreaker between Corruption and some other faction. Do you think studying for multiple divisions at the same time is going to be a different struggle, or will it be watch one movie from anywhere, watch 2 IG movies to keep them fresh, watch one movie from anywhere?
I can tell you it's gonna be interesting. Because when I was doing IG, that was all I had to focus on, and then just had to just like flip flop it. And I'm doing both at the same time. I think the thing is like my notes on a lot of these movies are extensive enough to the point where like I can forego watching something I know really well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, there's certain movies I know well enough that I don't feel like I need to watch them again. I don't feel like I get anything new out of them. But yeah, so it's probably I had to figure out a way to balance that for sure. But I'm not worried about it. I'm honestly excited for the challenge.
Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, sorry. I was just not actually asking a question. I was looking for something.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, I'm curious. We can't talk about Chance without talking about. I personally, and Dan also thinks your greatest rivalry, Paul Oyama. like these guys are often compared to each other. Like, what is that having a rival right off the bat, right? So usually some people have rivals because they play matches and there's these great storylines. You guys are rivals because of circumstance. How was it like to have a rival right off the bat?
It was interesting because, again, Paul got known for like many years. Again, also one of my best friends. It was interesting because I feel like the two of us bring the best out of each other. And yeah, I do think that it was interesting to have a rivalry with him. And there are a few players I would rather have a rivalry with than Paul Yamich because I mean I know him. We talk all the time, and we just have that dynamic just in real life, and to bring that to the game, I think is great. I would love another crack at him in singles. I'm waiting for that, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll have to run through a couple rounds of this singles tournament.
Oh yeah, gotta
always meet in the final.
got a long way to go if I want to see him in the final, but I think I can do it.
Yeah, it's actually very disappointing that we couldn't have had another corruption member in there instead of Paulo Yama, but you can take him out when you get there. Speaking of like joining corruption is different from drafting corruption, right? Were you and Mike unofficially involved in, we'll say, telling Shannon about competitors, because we're not allowed to say competitors drafted people?
Yes, I did. Shannon did have me do write-ups on rookies that I thought would be interesting. So yeah, no, I did help Shannon. I did help Shannon in the draft, and just like we should probably pick this this person would be a good pickup. She did. Okay. Yeah, like it's not, it doesn't play in the video, but like throughout that whole draft, we were just like talking to each other.
Mm-hmm. And joining like 9 other people on a team and kind of studying together, is that a different sort of system from what you were familiar with, or did you always have like a study group, even if it was smaller?
But before it was just me and Mike like texting each other, like random questions. That was our study session before, but like we started doing these things now. Where before COVID hit and we went all remote. I started going to his place the day before matches, and we would go over questions and stuff. And then since this happened, we started getting on like faction calls, which a lot of factions do. Faction calls and just like going over things. And it's been a really different experience because you do that and it allows you to absorb knowledge from like all different directions from your team, because you have someone on your team that's like good at action, someone who's good at horror, someone who knows like ice cubes from filmography really well. It's experience. It's a good experience to, really. It's a good way to really like expand your knowledge doing like team sessions like that.
Yeah, and Lou, did you have something?
No, it's just the joys of having a 3-month-old baby. Doesn't understand I'm doing a podcast right now. But yeah, no, go ahead, continue, Don.
Yeah, I was looking at this thing here. It looks like you've picked up about 17.5 points this season. When splitting your team's points in half, right? Half for you, half for Mike. If you had one more point, you yourself would be in 6th place on the faction standings.
That's wild.
The Cobra is a faction himself, apparently. Well, talking about faction, you've been in multiple. But you have been in a couple iterations of corruption. What's the difference with having Shannon compared to Ken and others?
I mean, Ken was great for a mouthpiece, but as far as like gameplay, he was pretty checked out. Not gonna lie, and he'll admit that to you himself. Shannon's taken this manager position. She's taken the baton. She's ran with it because like she's always like texting her players, like strategy. She's always like setting up meets. She's really. I do commend her. Like, I do commend her for how well she's taken the position of manager, because she's really taking a liking to it. She's enjoying it, and just to have someone like as involved as she is, it's been really great. I love working under Shannon.
Yeah, she's very passionate. So
yeah.
she almost enjoys, the smack talk and everything, but she also seems to enjoy it, taking pride into her players and giving her all. How much did it change your game for having her? Like, did you see your game differently after her approach?
Well, it's essentially like having a coach in your corner. Like, it's someone. If your manager can be like really involved, like she can be, she like they can become your coach. And so it's like she does push me. She does bounce ideas off of me, and I bounce ideas off of her. And yeah, she really has. I do think she has improved my game, both from a character standpoint and from gameplay standpoint, because I'm putting in a lot of work for this season, and it's really showing so far.
That's an understatement, Chaz. Now, I am curious: is there a dream match in any league that an opponent or a team that you haven't faced that yet that you would give your right arm to sink your teeth in?
So many, man. Someone I haven't faced?
Yeah.
Okay, so that narrows it down. I think with two I haven't faced, because there's a lot of people
Let's say haven't faced in that division, so you could put Dan on that list.
I mean, yeah, I love put Dan in singles. I'll play Roca in singles. Bateman, I love a crack at him. I also love a crack at Goddard, just to just to show him that he's nothing.
Wow, that is a strong statement.
I do want to circle back quickly to Shannon. When I was trying to decide, I mentioned earlier I follow like a storyline, and I was trying to pick a new one coming into this season. And I think Dave would throw me out right now, but I picked corruption in one moment. And it was when Shannon picked Elliot Dewberry directly after Josh Makuga. In like that moment sold me that she knew exactly what she was doing, and first day in the game, this faction is going to be something.
Yeah, that was a thing where like we had our draft pick ready to go. I can't remember who it was, but it might have been Laura. But we had that ready to go, but then Winston drafted Makuga, and she leaned over like, "What if I drafted Dewberry?" And I looked at the roster and I'm just like, oh, you know what, we should do it. Like, we can risk throwing away a draft pick, but even if we get screwed in the next round, like I'm willing to take that risk, because I didn't think Laura was going to get drafted. I didn't think Laura was going to get drafted until we got to her, and lo and behold, I was right. So she did it, and I just love the eruption from the crowd. I go back and watch that moment all the time. I think it's hilarious. And
I think in my fantasy league, I managed to snag you in the 4th or 5th round because nobody was even looking at it after I drafted Mike. They forgot there was a champion in the draft the whole time. Oh yeah, you've basically won me my league.
The league's not over yet, bro.
Oh, mine kind of is. Don't worry.
But it's funny. It's like the flip side. If I remember correctly, there's 4 leagues, and I'm on 3 that I'm actually not on his league. And you actually went pretty fast, right? So I don't know. They were sleeping on you. It's their problem.
Yeah.
Now, is there a moment like a lot of people were like, corruptions are they're going to do good and everything, and then slow start. Were you starting to get worried, or you still had that trust?
I mean, I knew. I believed in my faction, whether or not we did start off not well. I will admit that, but it was a case of, it's a case of it's not. Like, seasons are not won or lost in the first couple of matches. So yeah, we were down. We were in last place. Thing is, though, a lot of like our A players hadn't played a whole lot. Like it was all our like you have teams like Lon, like no, I'm sorry, like Paul and Tom striking out. Like those are your 1 and 2 picks right there, and they lose off the bat. So, and what happened when you know we're still doing studio? What happened when you plugged in your top 2 players for corruption? They won you some points. So I felt like, okay, you know what? If we get more matches under our belts, especially like top players like me, Mike, and Laura, like we can make things happen. And yeah, when IG came around, where it's like, okay, this is it. This is where we rebound. And the Star Wars tournament, like this is where we rebound. And look, I mean, Laura did what she could. She got cast by some weird swag ace magic. I'm still under investigation. That match is still under investigation in my eyes, so I don't count it. But you look at like what me and Mike did. Like we brought our faction from between the 3 of us. We brought our faction from like last place to I think 2nd at that point.
Yeah,
and yeah, we won back a title. We got a shot another title. Like we've done a lot for the team. So yeah, I wasn't worried just because it was a bunch of newbies we had playing so far. So once you look when you let your big dogs loose, they're gonna make things happen.
Yep.
I mean, you won that match against, I believe it was Odd Couple, like very early on in the season, and then
Family.
You got the family. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
But you got your title shot, and then you got. The important thing is they got their title shot back, and then it was months and months before you got to play for it too. And
the thing is, there was such urgency to do that match because like we had it scheduled for 1 week, but you know I think it's probably not at this point. The guy got food poisoning. I was already there. I was ready to go, but guy got food poisoning, so we couldn't play. So we had to delay it. We got it in under the wire because I was going to go out of town. I'm going to go out of town for a week. We got it in like right, literally. I did that. I woke up. I did that match. As soon as it was done, I left the studio, went to the airport, and went to Orlando. So, yeah. So there was a lot of urgency. And there's a lot of urgency to get because Kristen's like, I need a title match. Understandably, because you want to compete. You want someone to compete for your title like every like 2-3 months. It's like a good balance for title shots.
Now, and like one in every month, so you have something to put at your live event, right? That has been generally what's going on.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, then COVID happened and we were just sitting on that title shot for like months and months.
Yeah.
Now, if we take Chance, the Schmodown fan, and leave the competitor out for this question, who's the most underrated player in your opinion? Maybe ever or at least this season?
Ooh, most underrated?
Yeah.
Ever. I feel like Whitney's really solid. I do think that I do feel like he's the 0-3 record does not reflect the kind of player he is. And it just sucks that he hasn't had a more successful singles career. And he's great in teams. Like he is fantastic in teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I would want to see him get more wins by himself. But yeah, I mean 0-3, that's tough to rebound from.
The bad luck, he is bad luck in personified. Like he has the knowledge, just doesn't break through, and it sucks. But yeah, you're right, he definitely isn't a player. That being said, we're pretty much wrapping up soon to the end of this interview. We do like to leave it off with 2 questions every interview. First one is there something that fans would be surprised to know about Chance, like something that basically no one knows, and you know it'd be interesting to know?
Something that no one knows about me. That's interesting, because there's a lot of things people might be shocked to find. Ooh, that's really hard. I wish I gotten this one ahead of time. I would have practiced. Something that they don't know about me. Wow, that is hard because I'm pretty open with myself.
We got a couple surprising answers. Like we got Smets apparently is a musical buff and loves to sing. You know, he actually sang for us a bit. That was surprising.
You know what? That is a thing. So when I was in high school, I did football and I did theater at the same time. Problem is, like with the fall musical, I could not give the time commitment to like do like a physical presence.
Mm,
Luckily, our show that year was Little Shop of Horrors,
nice.
so
Mm.
I got to voice the plants, which
Sweet.
was really fun. So yeah, I did enjoy doing that.
All right, so you were the plant in the musical.
Yes.
Awesome.
Did they record you and just have it piped in while you were playing football, or?
No, so what I was able to do, because I didn't have to be on stage, so I was able to like get off of practice and then I was like, get out of practice, like go shower real quick, and then
Okay.
just like haul ass to the theater.
Yeah, it's no
Because-
costume, no makeup.
No,
though,
literally,
and
yeah,
that-
it was literally just me backstage
Yeah.
with a microphone in front of a podium. So so it didn't take that much of a commitment from me. All I had to practice was like getting synced with the puppeteers at the plants.
Hmm. And last question, but not least, and it's the one we probably got the most varied answers, is if ever aliens one day come down to Earth and erase all movies, but they're nice enough to let us know that you got a week before it goes away, what would be your last 3 movies you'd watch as a celebration, as a final goodbye to movies?
So I'm going with 2 game changers and one that is a love letter to movies. My first game changer is the first Toy Story, and people know me. I'm a huge Pixar guy. And seeing what you asked me, like, what was the VHS I wore out? That was a VHS I wore out a lot. I have a lot of copies. Half of them I don't think work. Just because I love that
had
movie.
2. Yeah.
Because you watch that movie and it holds up really well. The animation can be a little wonky sometimes, but I think that what stands out about it is the writing and the performances, and like the fact that it was the Snow White of its time.
Yeah,
like it was a thing that was just like massively influential, massive game changer. So I do think that'd be one. Going with another fandom, another game changer. I'm going with Star Wars, the original. I hope. It's not my favorite Star Wars. I mean, that would go to. It's probably like behind. It's behind. Oh, it is behind Empire. There's nothing else. But I wouldn't want to watch Empire as one of my last movies because, like, I wouldn't want to do just that one because, we leave off with a cliffhanger. You don't get to resolve it. It's a whole debacle.
Yeah.
The bad guys mostly win.
Yeah, and there you go. Buy movies, but I think that if you watch that one's it's the most contained story because it has a beginning, a middle, and end. There are teases to other things to come, but like for the most part, that is like a self-contained movie. And yeah, I love Star Wars, and I wasn't gonna not put a Star Wars film on this. So yeah, that's gonna be one of my representatives. And my last one, I decided to. Movies are going away, so you want to end with something that's going to be like a love letter to movies, remind you like how great and special they were, and how it's going to suck that they're not going to be around anymore. So I decided to go with Singing in the Rain, a movie about making movies, a love letter to old Hollywood, and just an absolute classic. I think it's great. Some fantastic songs, some great choreography, great performances. It's top to bottom, just incredible film. That's in a weird way, like it also could parallel, like that was like Hollywood saying goodbye to the silent film era. This would be just saying goodbye to just cinema. I think it'd be really poetic and really nice to end off on that one.
Yeah, you're actually the first one who actually mentioned that movie, but yeah, it is an amazing movie, and there's a couple of classics like for Casablanca and Fiddler on the Roof that you celebrate like the grandiose movies, but Singing in the Rain is definitely one of them. Before we go, I would shoot myself in the foot if I don't ask this question. Since you are a Star Wars buff, any chance we're getting a 4-leaguer here?
Maybe. I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say yes. Not gonna say no. I'm just saying maybe it could happen. It could happen.
That's the IG textbook ×3 for each movie. Just
bear
in mind.
Star Wars, the league is no joke. So if you're gonna go into that, you better be ready.
Yeah, you tape your eyes open and take a couple Red Bulls.
Droid slightly off camera? Hey, what's the name of the droid slightly off camera in A New Hope?
All right, look, Thank you very much, Chance, for your time. This has been an amazing interview. Again, thank you again. That being said, is there, if people want to find you, where can they find you?
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram at ChanceWars_91. Check out my podcast, Notorious by Chance. I don't know when this is dropping, so I will say we had as of right now, we did our episode on 7 with Dan Murrell. That was a lot of fun. Dropping, it hasn't dropped yet, but what will drop is our episode on the replacements, which we had Winston Marshall come on and join us for it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We do it every week, and I bring on more guests the entire month. You can also find the Notorious by Chance on YouTube. We're going to start reviewing movies again, like Tenet, Mutants, all kinds of stuff. And just watch Schmodown, enjoy the Patreon. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me this season.
And can't wait to see more of you, man. My end, the Norn Schmoes on Twitter is basically where you can find me, if not on Facebook, Louis Monette. And you, Dan, where can we find you?
Yeah, I'm at my handle down here on Twitter, Avengers_SOTN, and you can find us around our Facebook page. Be sure to also like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon on YouTube so you know when we're dropping episodes of Schmodown Night in Canada and Northern Consultations.
All right. Well, again, thank you, boys, and you have a beautiful night.
Thank you.